Black screens flicker with bursts of white text. 10% complete, 23% complete, then abruptly cut to error. Silence hangs heavy for a beat. A camera pans across a dimly lit room. Empty energy drink cans and crumpled fast food wrappers litter the floor. A single monitor glows, casting an eerie light on a frozen character in a popular video game. We all love video games. The escape, the challenge, the pure joy of victory. But lately something feels different. Glitches in the immersion, frustration replacing fun. Is it just you, or are video games losing their magic? 8. Special Vision Modes. There have been many good Assassin's Creed games over the years, and you can find them all in the 3 best games. Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed, Brotherhood, and Assassin's Creed Black Flag are these 3 games. However, this game series also has Eagle Vision, a feature that lets you see through walls and tell the difference between friendly guys, bad guys, and everything in between. It's kind of like X-ray vision. It would have been fine to use this feature occasionally, but now it's pretty much a must-have for AAA games. You can find it in Hitman, Batman, Arkham Knight, Tomb Raider, The Last of Us, and even Far Cry Primal, where it's called Hunter Vision. This feature only makes sense in Batman games, where the character is made up of different tools that allow him to use an X-ray vision. But in some games, it's easy to see this as a cheating feature that takes away from the fun. Eagle Vision, X-ray vision, or any other name you want to give it, means that producers don't trust gamers to handle games properly. Maybe they're afraid that if the game gets hard for 5 minutes, we'll all lose our cool and never play that game again. The developers of Dark Souls must not have seen this because the game is doing great without it. 7. Putting money into stat boosts. If you want to spend your money on gun paint, virtual clothes, or other similar things, microtransactions aren't rude. Microtransactions are annoying when they change how you play games online. You can use real money to buy in-game items in Call of Duty, Black Ops 3. There is in-game cash that can be used to buy strong weapons. In Star Wars Battlefront, you can also buy strong weapons to help you beat your enemies. These kinds of features make games and players less fair by giving real money players an edge over those who are just trying to win by skill and ability. Not only that, but isn't improving your skills an important part of gaming? Now the people who worked on Payday 2 got this virus of dollar eyes, who used to be praised for how loyal they were to the game community. You could now pay money to get more guns and experience points from completing different tasks. This is the very definition of elitism, and it hurts a medium that thrives on competition and skill rewards. 6. Arrows guiding you exactly where to go. Do you remember when games put you in dark caves and you had to figure out how to get out? We know those weren't all good times, but at least the games let you figure out the plan and get around. In games like Grand Theft Auto, GPS tracking makes sense because, well, GPS is useful these days. But in games like BioShock Infinite, having huge arrows on the ground or on your head really breaks the atmosphere and makes you look a little cocky. Giving hints in a game is fine, but telling everyone what to do is awkward. The people who make games want us to be on a clear road so that we can easily move through a story. We shouldn't be too aware that they're doing it. 5. Automatic health recovery. After getting shot in the upper body dozens of times, you are almost dead. Your vision gets red and fuzzy, and your friend's words get hard to hear. You feel like you're going to die, but in 10 seconds you're back on your feet. You barely make it in time to see another bullet hit you in the face. You fall to the ground almost dead. Do not worry, you will be able to stand up again in 10 seconds. That's a short summary of what it's like to be close to dying in Call of Duty. It's also like this in other series like Assassin's Creed, Battlefield, and Uncharted. There is a feature in AAA games that kills the tension because it seems like they are trying to soak us in different levels of reality. We agree with you that we shouldn't go back to medkits like they were in Doom. Instead, we think we need to find a middle ground. One example that comes to mind is a divided health recovery, where your health only heals to 25% to give you a fighting chance or can heal itself after a battle is over. We have to talk about Dark Souls again. The fear of dying is one of the most addicting things about video games, and dying helps us not make the same mistakes when we face similar tasks again. Many AAA games today have forgotten about this. 4. Auto-aim. Auto-targeting is useful for some things, like helicopters, rockets, nukes, and Metal Gear Solid end bosses. These things can fire shots and missiles that could easily hit you in the head with an apple from 2 miles away. But how is it that every thug you control in Grand Theft Auto or every main character in Assassin's Creed can easily shoot someone? Shooting is a basic part of GTA. So that's where this problem starts. It is against the rules of the game to hide behind cover and line up your targets, only to blast them away without even looking. What's the tough part or skill in that? So that's why we're playing GTA 5 when none of those things are needed to play it. Most games let you turn off auto-targeting in both single-player and multiplayer modes, but in games like Far Cry 4, GTA Online, and Battlefield, you'll be severely punished if you do. These games all depend on different kinds of auto-aim and supported targeting. Auto-aim and auto-targeting should not be allowed in any way in online multiplayer modes. This would make the games more skill-based and challenging instead of whoever draws a gun first wins. We know that platform shooters can be fun without auto-targeting or pointing in games like The Last of Us, Gears of War, and Max Payne 3. So let's get rid of this thing for good. 3. Putting content that can only be unlocked once in payment buckets. It used to be that games would thank us for our hard work with new game modes, characters, and cheats. These days, all we get are virtual awards for completing all sorts of amazing in-game adventures. You used to be able to get to the same information by playing games, but now you have to pay to see it. Fighting games like Street Fighter V, Mortal Kombat X, and Tekken 6 are the best examples of this. All of these games have more paid content than unlocked content, like characters that you can download. This is different from Tekken 3, where each playthrough gave you an extra character until you had 11. After that, you might cry. Not only has bought DLC taken the place of the game's unlockables, but some games keep telling us that the version we are playing is not the full version. When you're in Call of Duty Black Ops IVA, almost every page will offer extra material or DLC. In Mortal Kombat X, on the other hand, they showed characters in the choosing screen but told you had to pay extra to get them. Publishers still use in-game menus and choices as advertising boards for extra content after you've already bought the game. This shows a severe lack of respect for players who have been patient for a long time and should be able to play their full game without any interruptions. 2. Events that happen quickly. We were shocked when Shemi showed us that a game could depend on quick time events so much. Well, we forgot what cinematic meant and didn't know that in games, cinematic can also mean non-interactive. Since then, gamers have grown to dislike quick time events almost too much. Not only that, they can be done well. In Heavy Rain, the QTEs are very exciting and smart. In God of War, they don't happen very often or really make the game feel and taste better. But some XXX games have abused this feature by putting us through boring cutscenes, annoying instant death prompts that appear out of nowhere in Tomb Raider, or whole games that didn't know how to be games at all, making you sit through long cutscenes while pressing a button every so often to say, "Yes, the order. 1886, I'm looking at you." 1. Early access games that aren't complete. Early access was meant to give players a chance to see how a game changes over time and to basically be a part of the creation process of an independent game, helping and giving feedback to the creators as they work on it for the next 6 months, a year, or maybe even forever. Some developers, like the ones who made Kerbal Space Program and Prison Architect, have actually used early access and then released the full game. These games were equal parts work by the creators and player feedback. Steam is now full of games that aren't finished yet and aren't going anywhere. The trouble is that you will never get your money back if you rush into a game with the best of plans of seeing it through to the end, and then 6 months later, the creators quit for whatever reason. Many games are still in the works because of this. Notably, All Talk and Godus, which got a lot of money from early access buyers on Steam and Kickstarter, but were never finished, broke their promises, and now give gamers 2 average games that are nothing like what they were supposed to be. While early access can be great for games, there is a chance that we will lose faith in the system if it is not well managed and controlled. This would be a big loss. Video games should be a source of joy, not frustration. They should transport us to new worlds, not trap us in endless cycles of repetition. Let's remember why we fell in love with gaming in the first place. Let's reclaim the fun, the creativity, the sense of community.